Ironheart is out. They dropped 3 episodes on the first day, 3 episodes a week later. I will preface this by saying my wife likes to watch these shows and watch them with me. She just started a new job, and unfortunately, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, she works late at night. So we haven't gotten to watch it yet. I know everything about it because everybody's talked about it. Unfortunately, haven't gotten to see it. So it's one of those things where I can see everybody talking about it, and I myself not having seen it. Of course, the internet exploded with all Mephisto's in this. They build him up. Okay, cool. So obviously I know the context of it. I'm gonna have watched it by the time we do the podcast, more than likely next week, because she has a couple of days off now coming up. So it's one of those things where I'm looking at the discourse for the series, but I'm seeing, weirdly enough, the discourse doesn't seem to be about the quality of the show. The discourse seems to be central to the character and their messaging, and everybody's praising things like Mephisto, the villain of the series, and things like that. So I'm like,
how dare she say anything against Tony Stark?
Yeah,
how dare she point out that Tony Stark could only be Iron Man because he has money? How dare
I think that's the crux of the whole argument, technically, because they bring it up that Tony, he's a billionaire, but how he got over his I guess the things that he has to do is that he was in a cave, built what he needed to build, and he didn't have the best of the best, even though if you take that context, they did give him the material that he needed, which was from his own tech. So technically he still had the best of the best. Maybe, not top of the line, but he was taking stuff out from his weapons to make the arc reactor and the armor. Here, Riri is mad because she can't get the correct tools and materials because she's not really rich and is technically not thinking outside the box, which in context, if you want to go there, a lot of people will be not thinking outside the box at first until they actually do.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like she personally knows Tony Stark. She doesn't know how he used that money, she did like certain stuff. Like, I mean, hey, she built an armor in the kitchen.
But there is also like the argument, like you think about Tony Stark, he's super intelligent, right? But the money and his family and where he is affords him to build the armor top of the line, top quality, the moment he gets out of the Middle East, right? Where if he was in
$40 billion lab in his garage.
Right. If he was in Riri's situation, he could probably and would still do it. It would take him longer, and the Iron Man armors would not look as good as pristine as the first one, which I've seen her armor progression, obviously, and what she does, and you look at Wakanda Forever. So I kind of get like the trajectory of what they're going for. I get the message, but fundamentally, I don't think people understood what she was saying.
It's She-Hulk all over again, where She-Hulk she dares to have that moment of like, I'm always angry. Like
it's a weird thing where where characters who technically are who are legacy characters who technically aren't allowed to complain, just like the original heroes. If they were to complain about something, they complain about it, and people go, well, that's familiar. People do it all the time, but a lot of legacy characters, if they technically aren't allowed that leeway because they have to be perfect out the gate. Not saying that Riri's perfect, because if you've read comics about her, even her origin, she was far from perfect. And here they're trying to reestablish who she is as a character, because if you want to take her at a first arc, Riri's not a real likable character with how Bendis tried to strike twice with lightning.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Ricardo, what's your overall feelings on what you saw her character, and of course Mephisto then being, the thing?
Because I'm not a big fan of her version of the comics, so I enjoyed how she was utilized in the show. Because at least, because I mentioned in my review what I liked what this show did. Like, this show, like, it raised the stakes each part, right? So it was like, she going to school. You think she's just gonna do like simple fun. Then it gets worse. She gets more desperate. She gets more PTSD. She's getting she's worrying about her family. Imagine getting kicked out back into the hood. Where's she gonna get money? The only dumb thing I said, I was like, man, she don't have Shuri on the phone. I was like, you can't go back. I was like, you couldn't go back to Wakanda. I was like,
I was gonna say, remember they established in multiple cities around the U.S. There's the Wakandan outreach programs, right? It's like you think they'd have like ambassadors there. She's like, hey, Shuri, help. But,
like maybe she wasn't looking for a handout, or she probably already felt the way when they took the armor back. Like there's a lot of situations, but I did like that she was willing to do what she felt like she was right. And then until like the very end, I was like, oh man, I couldn't believe they did it. That was the thing. I couldn't believe the whole Mephisto thing. It was just it caught me incredibly off guard. But that makes you just want you to see more. If it was done bad and he still did the same thing, I would have been like, oh, okay. I was like, this is just Secret Invasion.
Oh. Yeah, because you think with the Mephisto thing, any Iron Man character hasn't like had like a run-in with him. If you're going by comics, it's usually like no. From what I looked up before, he was mostly fighting oddly the Hulk, Ghost Rider, Silver Surfer, and like one of the characters.
Ghost Rider counts. Mephisto adjacent. I'm certain there's been a point where Stark has had a thing with at least one of the not devil demons in Marvel. Certain of it.
Well, it makes you wonder, right? Because now we have to see how the MCU utilizes how do you break out of Mephisto's contract? Because we've never seen how that plays out. Because if this has already happened, then Johnny Blaze is already a thing. Maybe they might do Danny Cash. Like we don't know, but we need to see how it's possible to read.
It's with how established. Yeah, well, with how hopefully they change it, but with how I guess Marvel Comics does it, Mephisto usually wins in the end, depending on the context of how he has his deals. So that could be something. Take the girl back. Yeah, it'd probably be interesting how they do it in the MCU if they want to do the loophole deals with these Faustian deals that they usually do, especially with the comics. Because from what I'm trying to remember, he usually wins in the end in a certain context of the deal. So
he always ends up winning. Yeah, it's always like there's always a little thing in that contract that's like, aha.
I say if because I hope there's a continuation, because God knows when they'd ever fit the story into anything else. But with the whole Natalie's no longer really a hologram bit at the end, like surely it's got to do something with that.
That was the craziest like twist. I had this theory of like, because like you said, because with how they did the whole timeline thing, I have this theory like, look, she comes back, and for what we don't see, because you know how the MCU likes to move on while we're like living life. For all we know, everybody probably resents Riri. It was like how you're able to bring her back. So she's probably down in a more deeper hole, because maybe we might see her like, oh, I lost all my friends. It's like, well, how did I bring her back? She'll be like, I remember dying. She'll probably get nightmares of Mephisto.
I honestly like, you know, you mentioned all that because that's one of the things that one of my friends sent me a clip of. I was like, oh, I kind of suspected this was going to happen when I saw a couple of the highlights, you know, from the series. And to me, I feel like that this character would have either continued on in the canceled Strange Academy or Terror Inc., right?
Like, Strange Academy, 100%. This show seems like
it's like it, and also like that's not it, you know, like Multiverse of Madness also sets up Strange Academy as well. So you're kind of like, you could see where they were going, but if they're going to end up there now,
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
How Ricardo was saying, like, it reminds me more of how we made the deal. It reminds me, very oddly enough, of the Champions run where Miles made the deal to bring back Kamala and and with I think he was still totally awesome Hulk, in that they were the only two alive after that mishap. Oddly enough, I think it was the Middle East, and they were both alive. And Mephisto comes to Miles saying that I know what you asked. I can bring them back. I can bring, Kamala back. I can bring all the ones that died back. And Miles goes, yeah, he makes the deal, but there was a catch, is that even though he goes to help them, what happens is that the people that they did save, he wasn't there, and they ended up dying in their place. So, like you said, bringing back that character could have some ramifications to other people possibly getting in trouble. So, yeah, we'll see.
I just want a season 2.
Well, with how it is, maybe, but for if the internet's to go by, it's crap for some reason. So,
yeah. We all know the reason why. We all know that reason why.
From everything I've seen, the budget was between 100 and 150 million. We know they're trying to cost reduce. So sadly, it's like, and the way Marvel, like in the last week, we got the reports that Marvel, or not Marvel intentionally, but Disney, they tossed out Ironheart and Elio because DEI. And they're like, oh, we don't need to market these, so just toss them out. I think that kind of shows you what's going to happen. It's like, it's just.
I think you've got an unfortunate two-pronged attack on this one. So obviously, you have the whole DEI clampdown from the US government because old white boomers, but at the same time, you have the Marvel scrambling to get back to a certain point. So it's just sorry, Ironheart, doesn't matter. But that's what I'm expecting anyway. Hopefully, they actually go back to it and we get something.
Hopefully,
I'm not expecting it, to be honest.
So, I guess most people here then understand the concept and everything that happens. So stay tuned. When there's more, we'll talk about it more. And of course, a little bit more in the bonus topic. But thank you for checking out that video. And thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will. And if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching and have a good one.